worked hard my whole life, so if I got to be disciplined and not eat a bunch of protein and I got to lose more weight, and people are like, what if you get small? And I'm like, dude, what if, you know? That's it, though.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
So over the course of the last year, you know, I had a rough start to the transplant. They kept me pretty heavily medicated, so the beginning of it wasn't as bad. I was in the hospital a little bit longer. I was in the ICU a little bit longer. But, you know, progressively, there's been ups and downs. But comparatively where I'm at now to pre-transplant is night and day. Like, I feel so much better. Actually, the last, like, 6 to 8 weeks, I feel like I'm finally making progress and not only getting back to where I was, but exceeding in some ways. Especially, like, I don't know the last time I've been this big or this lean at the same time, with especially, like, not taking heavy compounds. So I weigh 265 in the morning now. And I think right before I started having all the health issues, I was walking around at like 275 with approximately the same body fat. So, you know, to be 10 pounds away from my competitive levels is far exceeds my expectations. For 7 months of transplant was rejection, my disease coming back, my kidney fell asleep, and then I ran into CMV in October, which was the last one, and that was a nightmare, and which most people like have it and they don't know it, and it doesn't really affect them. But to somebody that's on these medications and immune compromised, it could kill you. And I got pretty close to letting it kill me, because my numbers came in so high, the doctors were like, we have never seen anybody come in on their own will at this number. Like, you're still walking, you're still talking, but I felt like shit. That's when John Hack and Andy and Julius Maddox were here, and you know, they're all trying to hang out. I'm like, dude, something's off. Like, I was eating like a taco a day and not drinking any water, and they ended me back in the hospital for another 14 days.
Would you say like CMV was your like biggest setback this year?
It was my last setback. I wouldn't say it's the biggest. I think learning that my disease came back after transplant was my biggest, because I didn't really know what that looked like. And then they had to put me on infusions. I was getting IVs. I was, you know, always in and out of the hospital. I think I had 8 overnights and multiple overnights where I was there for a weekend at a time, fixing simple problems. Like, I couldn't poop. So and then that's a whole nightmare of another story, and it turned into not even being the case. They were getting false readings on an x-ray. So I was violated. I was violated in the worst ways for no reason. But stuff like that, man, where you wouldn't think that it would be a big deal, and then it turns into a four-night stay at the hospital and dealing with those medication changes. And then, you know, the first medication they put me on, my skin started to peel everywhere. So my hands, my feet, my legs, I'm itchy, I'm red, I'm blotchy. I'm having an allergic reaction to medications that most people don't. And then they started lowering my meds and putting me on different drugs like prednisone, which I had a horrible response to, like, you know, agitation, weight gain, loss of appetite, bad mood. Like, it was one of the worst drugs I could think I've ever taken. And I was on that for 7 months. So when I finally got off of that, I gained 20 pounds, and people were like, what are you taking, bro? I'm like, it's not what I'm taking, it's what I'm not taking. Because it makes a whole big difference when you can eat, sleep, and train properly.
Well, one of the things you also said.
Yeah, so I think, you know, going into transplant, I wanted a year from now, or a year from then, where I'm at now, I wanted to be in a position where I could start training for a powerlifting meet. I think I'm there, but I don't think, with all the setbacks I had, I'm at the level I'd want to be at. Like, I could compete and I could get a decent total, but do it, maybe even a 2K total if I pushed it. But is that worth it to me to like be selfish and do the things I know I need to do, like isolate myself, focus on my training, not be social, not interact with my family, like not do these things where I needed to do before in order to be a successful entrepreneur, in order to be successful competitive weightlifter. Like, I don't think it's worth it to me to do those things at this moment. Like, give me some more time, and I'm still gaining traction, still getting stronger, I'm still getting bigger, doing it kind of, I don't want to say half-heartedly, because I do try very, very hard. And if you need any proof of that, there's video footage of me puking in a bucket. But it's more so of like the other components of it, where like the mental aspect of it. Because right now I have no pressure on myself. And if the minute I say I'm going to do a competition, it's nothing but pressure. And it's nobody putting it on me but myself. But that's just the type of dude I am. Like, I say the same thing with business. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I'll look at my life and be like, I did enough. It's kind of like this mentality I've had that's like allowed me to be successful and allowed me to be competitive, but it's also like allowed me to like have to adapt and, understand that I can still be happy, but still be ambitious.
So going into this coming.
So I turned 40 in July. That's 7 months from now. And in that year, so I don't know if it'll be 2025, but I want to compete at the age of 40, and I want that to be my last meet. So like one thing we're talking about is like one of the things that drives me, and it was like it's never this idea of, because I did get sick and I did get injured and I tore 2 tendons and I had a muscle belly tear, and like everybody on the internet was like, oh, this guy's career is over. And maybe it is, and I have to live with that. I have no problem with it. And everybody telling me, oh, you blew your kidneys through steroids. And I believed that the first 3 years because they would not do the genetic testing on me. And then when they did the genetic testing, proved that it was FGS and it was actually the genetic component of it, that I started to be like, damn, man, like I lived this whole time from all these outside pressures, and I was finally able to let it go, and like what motivated me was the people reaching out saying, hey dude, I got the same thing going on. How can I get to your level? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to keep my head above water and you're asking me? But it was like, explaining it to other people and telling them what to do, like now I can't let that guy down. He's looking at me because I'm working out and eating, and like I'm not going to tell him to stay on the low sodium diet if I'm not going to do it. So like let me try a little harder. And the more I did that, the more people reached out. Like with my transplant, and especially in the last couple of months, where like they're seeing the progress again, and they're seeing me work out regularly again, and they're seeing progress. Like I'm putting on size, I'm putting on strength. They're like, what are you doing differently? And I'm like, dude, it's the same thing. I'm just consistent with it. So those are the things that motivate me. I've never been like a fuck you, I'll show you. I'm more of like those types of people come and go. I've had so many people like that in my life that are like, you'll never do this, you'll never do that. I can't even remember their names. I just, like, okay, you don't believe in me? Like, I don't got time for you. And then the people that have been like, and I don't need a pat on your back because I'm gonna do it anyway. But the guys that are like, hey man, that's awesome. I'd like to learn from you, or, what can I do to be a part of this? And even just simple like, hey, I'm rooting for you. Those are the people I do it for. And it's not, it's not egotistical for me to say like those things motivate me, because like I feel like I'm helping them, and I actually feel like a genuine connection. And dude, there's a lot of people going through it. A lot of people that stay quiet. And they would say, hey, I research this stuff, and not especially bodybuilders, athletes, they don't talk about it. A minute someone gets sick, they shut off their page. A minute that they don't look the way they did when they were competing, they delete all their Instagram. And then they're reaching out to me because I've been public about it, and I get the good and the bad. But, I wouldn't have kept it on going this long if it wasn't more positive than good. And for every 10 negative comments I get one guy that really needs my help. And dude, and if I make an impact on that guy's life, it's worth it. Because like, people really don't understand how lonely it can get, and they really don't understand the isolation you feel and the pain you go through physically and mentally. And, you know, they think it's just, this guy's life's a joke. And, you know, I'm trying to say, like, this guy was going to commit suicide. And I had the opportunity to talk to him, and he wrote me a couple weeks ago and said, you know what, that really meant a lot to me. I didn't have a lot of people there for me. And I know what that feels like. So to be able to say, you know, and it, like, I don't know how to say what I'm saying. It's like, in order to, like, to be in a place to help people and impact their lives in a positive way is so rewarding to me. Like, I don't make enough money online to to justify do what I'm doing, to make YouTube videos, to make all these Instagram reels. Like we don't even sell clothes. You know, we're gonna start selling clothes, but I don't make enough money online to do those things. I should have deleted my Instagram last year, but I didn't, because I feel like this story has helped a lot of people and I want to continue that.